Patrick works in the accounting department at a company that pays a lot of invoices every month to service providers. Each invoice is due within 30 days. Every person on Patrick's team spends about 16 hours a week manually processing invoices to try to meet payment deadlines. Done manually, the process starts when invoices are received electronically through a web portal. Then the accounts payable team has to manually validate each invoice. They apply more than 30 controls to check things like, are there 9 characters in the tax number? Does the provider information match the database? Is every field filled in? Is the VAT calculated correctly? Is there an existing budget assigned to this provider? With so many controls, manually processing all those invoices was taking up valuable time for Patrick and his team every week. The company ended up paying many invoices late, which meant incurring extra fees. With a robotic process automation tool like Automate, the process was made much simpler for Patrick and his company. The same Excel spreadsheet used to manually record an invoice's status can guide a bot to perform the same controls. Watch as the Automate bot runs through these checks. It goes through each control quickly, checking between the invoicing software and CRM. Then it updates the Excel file if there are no errors. If there are errors, Automate emails the appropriate team so they can take action. This company not only was able to pay their invoices on time, but every person on Patrick's team got back 16 hours per week to spend on more valuable tasks. How could your company benefit from automating its invoicing processes?
Hey there, everybody. Today, we're going to be showing you how easy it is to design workflows and automate. The first thing we want to do is give our workflow a name. Here, we used Invoice example. Once we have it named, we can open the designer and begin to design the process. Step 1 is to add a trigger, so our bot knows when it needs to start its process. It's going to look for changes in the file system and wait for the invoices to appear. Once those invoices are in there, we need to get the information so that we can have that for the bot to use and figure out what it needs to do. Notice how we use these green arrows to indicate that if a task is successful, it's going to keep going to the next step. You'll see later on what we do if it's not. After we get that information, we're going to apply some controls. So we have formal controls and fiscal controls that we need to account for in this process. We'll have a nice visual designer so we can see how these tasks are flowing together. But what happens if something goes wrong that the bot didn't account for? That's where we're going to go down here and add an unexpected error task that can alert the end user in case something goes wrong. We're going to drag over a failure arrow this time, and we're going to be able to connect that to all 3 of our tasks to catch anything that goes wrong during that time, to tell our bot to stop processing that task and move on to the next. After we have those failures set up, we need to tell our bot to check to see where it is to figure out what it needs to do. So we're going to drag over this evaluation to get the status of the current values. After we do that, one of 3 things will occur. If everything has passed all of the validations, we're going to go ahead and authorize those payments. If it hasn't, we're going to catch the fiscal errors and the formal errors. But how does the bot know? That's where we're going to use a completely different type of evaluation to measure the result, as you can see us doing here. We can check for any sort of value, but here we use a fiscal error and a formal error. You can see that this drag and drop methodology in visual design makes it easy to look at your workflow holistically, see any gaps you might have in your processes, and make sure that everything's going to be completed accurately, completely, and without error. This has been a Real Impact solution, and thanks for watching.